When it comes to being sustainable, one thing you could do is start composting so as to not let your food waste go to waste. An easy way to start composting is using an indoor worm composter.
An indoor worm composter is pretty straightforward. There's really four parts. One is an aerated container, two is the bedding in the container, three is the worms, and four is the food that you add to it. And in the boxes that I'm using, we also have drainage holes in the bottom that let out the extra liquid that's given off by the composting process. And it's a real stimulant to plants. A friend of mine calls worm bin juice rocket fuel for plants. The bedding is the material in the box that sort of supports everything going on. We're using, a bedding needs to be high in carbon and retains moisture. Some of the options for bedding are shredded newspaper, peat moss, straw, and the choice I'm using today is a coconut product called Core, made from the shredded coconut shells. So aerated container, bedding, and then from that you have a supply of worms, because the worms are keeping everything mixed up, and they're eating the waste given off by the fungus and bacteria. So there's virtually no smell coming out of your box. The worm castings that you're going to get out of your worm box are about the best type of compost material you can get. It's rich in nutrients and microbes. I'm estimating it's about the same amount of effort as having a fish tank, where most of the time you don't have to do anything. It just sits there and behaves itself, but you do have to know what you're doing in terms of feeding it on the regular basis with the right material.
Okay, so you're putting in vegetables and any other products that you have at home, so you can put in leaf clippings. You're just not putting in things like meat or bone or any food that's been cooked with oil, and you're getting out worm castings. So the worms are digesting not the food products that you put in, but the bacteria and the fungi that are on those food products. And when they digest it, they turn it into more microbes, so more bacteria and fungi, but they also turn it into NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, as well as all the micronutrients you need for your soil to survive. And you use the castings in houseplants, or in your vegetable garden, or in your horticultural garden. Castings are high in moisture, so that makes them helpful for the plant to digest. And they're high in the bacteria and the fungi. Just don't throw your waste in the garbage, throw it in the bin. That's the whole thing. The easiest way to get rid of it, it's fun. If you have kids, they get to play with worms, and it's free fertilizer for your garden.
Clean North will be sorting their worm composter at the upcoming CD Saturday event on March 2nd. Worm kits will be made available, as well as worms, to start up your very own worm composter. For Shaw TV, I'm Christian LeMay.